What is going on, guys, and welcome to my next Angel of Death guide. Now I want to keep this intro brief, but I've just got a couple of things to say. So firstly, this guide is aimed at people who are new to the boss and trying to learn mechanics. So the way the guide will work is that I'll go over all of the different mechanics that Nex has in slow motion, so you can get an idea of what you're in for, and then I'll go through a full kill at the end so you can see it at full speed. And yeah, as I said, this is a guide is aimed at beginners and sort of larger teams. If people are interested, please do let me know in the comments, and I'll create a 7-man guide, because the attack rotation is slightly different, and what you need to do to make sure you're DPSing at the right times is slightly different. As far as invent and gear goes, I'm not going to say too much, but your best mage DPS, your best range DPS gear possible. And then this is my 7-man setup, but it'll be absolutely fine. You'll have more than enough food and stuff for a larger team. So I take 9 brews, obviously you can drop that down. And 2 restores, which is absolutely plenty, and then fill the rest up with rocktails. If you do have disruption shield and a rune pouch, do bring that, because it can be useful. And then if you don't have supreme overload salves, you're going to want to be able to bring an overload plus an anti-poison, because you will need an anti-poison when you are in there. So yeah, as I said, I want to keep this short. That's going to be it for this intro. I hope you guys do enjoy the video. If you do find it useful, please do give me a like and subscribe for future videos. There's going to be some more Nex AOD stuff coming out soon. And we'll jump into the kill now. Okay, so Nex's first special attack, she will say the elements call to me, and it's always this special attack first, and she'll jump into the air as she does this, and you'll see that the cross in the room sparkles. This means that you need to get off this cross, because icicles will spawn and hit you for damage. Now when she jumps, she will face one of the quarters of the room, and that's the quarter that the special attack is going to take place in. Now you need one person in that quarter so that you don't fail the mechanic, because if you fail a mechanic then the enrage goes up, but you only need one person in there. So ideally you want one designated person per quarter, and everyone else can leave then, so they don't take the damage. And what Nex does is it will hit you for 3.5k typeless damage 3 times. Now to avoid this, you can resonance the first one, and then you can reflect the second and third if you want, or you can just eat through it and carry on DPSing Nex. Now all the other ineffective quarters will have Reavers spawn, so you want to tag the Reavers with Binding Shot or with Deep Impact to stun them, and then DPS those down as quickly as possible. If the Reavers do touch Nex, that again counts as failing a mechanic, and she will enrage, and you know how much enrage she has by the little symbol near the health bar, and it will be like a Zaros symbol with a number next to it. Okay, so for the next special attack, Nex will say, let the shadow engulf you, and then red bombs are going to fall from the ceiling, and if you don't move, they'll hit you for like 3.5-4k damage, and if you still don't move, they'll continuously hit you. So it'll be one at a time, and it's where you're stood at the point that the bomb releases where it lands. So there's 2 ways you can deal with this. Some people prefer to surge to the edge of the room and let the bombs drop at the edge of the room and then run back in and start DPSing. Personally, I prefer to just take 1 step at a time and line all the bombs up and then continue to DPS Nex. It's personal preference. In larger teams, sometimes it can be easy to surge them to the edges of the room, just so there's less bombs clustering around where you can accidentally run into them. So these next special attacks will only occur after Nex has been phased to 1.8 mil. So the first of them is the ice attack, and you'll see that you'll get stunned. The screen will go like an ice, like wyverns, and you'll get these spikes that come up. Now the spikes can damage people, and if you're close to the spikes, it'll be 5k. Further out you are, it's less damage. So what you need to do is you need to freedom that and move away from the DPS pile. Now I didn't have freedom available because I used it whilst tanking the minions. So what you need to do is you need to just say ice so people can move away from you. Now fortunately I was in a smaller team there, so it didn't really affect people. But yeah, what you need to do is just make sure that there's no people near you, otherwise they're going to get iced and stunned as well. And then once the ice disappears, you're going to get a 2k bleed, which is going to hit you 5 times. So yeah, you just need to eat through that basically. Okay, so the next special attack can be quite a deadly one, and it can PK other people very easily, so you need to know what to do with this. So on screen at the moment you can see what you'll see as the person that gets the special attack. So you can see the red box above me that says Nex begins to draw smoke from the north towards you. Now it can say either the north or the east, and that means like a pillar of smoke is going to come towards you from that way. It will hit every single person in that pillar for constant like 1.6k magic damage. You can't devotion against it, you can't protect against it. So the red arrow shows you the direction that the smoke will come from if it says drawing smoke from the north, and the purple arrow set shows you the direction the smoke will go if it's drawing from the east. So you basically need to move the pillar away from the DPS pile. You need to make sure you're not in there, otherwise you're going to PK people. So the easiest way to do it, if it's coming from the north, you want to go to the east or the west wall, and if it's coming from the east, you want to go to the south or the north wall. And if you're not sure and you want to be safe, just run to a corner. There shouldn't be anybody in either direction then. So that's how you deal with that one, and it's very important that you move that out of the DPS pile. Okay, so the second to last special attack is the smoke tendril pool, and on screen at the moment you can see I've highlighted the sort of black smoke spot on the floor. Now this will move away from Nex and to anywhere, to a random location in the room. As a team, you need to get as many people into that pool when it spawns as possible, and tag the pillar in the middle, and this means that 14,000 damage will get shared out between the number of people in the pool. So if there's only 2 of you, you're going to get hit like 7,000. If there's more, it'll be less. So yeah, just make sure that you eat up, make sure you high life points in case someone does tag it when there's only a few people in there, and try and get as many in as possible. So Nex's final special attack is the insta-kill attack, and this can occur at any point below 600 life points. So this will occur when you're killing the pillars and also in the final phase. So what will happen is a bar will start to fill up above you. You should get a red message as well telling you that you've been targeted for this attack. And what you need to do is you need to run to the middle of the room whilst this first bar fills up. And if you're not in the middle of the room when this bar is full, you will get insta-killed. If you're in the middle of the room, it will do like an explosion, but nothing will happen. And then the bar will start to fill up again, and this is the bomb, and you need to place these bombs at the edges of the room. Bomb placement is really important because they'll hit 3k damage to anyone that's in them. The worst place to put them is in the middle, because then you can't clear the insta-kill attacks. So you need to be mindful of where people are going to be going, so you want to try and put them near to pillars that have already been killed, and not near to ones that you're going to kill. For example, if Shadow's down, you want to go put it near Shadow. Now, don't put it right in the corner, because that is where the tank should be standing to try and so that the DPS can soul split the pillars. So you want to try and get it sort of in the middle of the walls, towards pillars that have already been killed. And also you see that I actually get it back to back. So if it fills up for a third time, that means you've got another insta kill back to back. So you just have to rinse and repeat. Make sure you don't get caught out by that. Okay, so the start of the kill is relatively simple. You basically just need to DPS Nex down to 2.1 mil life points. So you start off by gaining full adrenaline. By the time you reach full adrenaline, she should be doing her first special attack. You want a death swiftness or you want ultimate at that point. Do adrenaline pot, and then you want to kill the Reavers. But what you can do is, to get like your 2 wild magics or your 2 snapshots in, you can rotate back to Nex, do your snapshot, and then back to the Reavers, so you're not wasting your thresholds on the Reavers, because you should be able to kill them whilst building with just basic abilities. Make sure you're getting off as many thresholds as you can on Nex. In larger teams, you won't need to do another ultimate, and basically she'll rotate between the jump attack and the red bombs. You'll see here that just after the red bombs, we phase it to 2.1 mil. In smaller teams, you're going to want to throw in an onslaught after those red bombs, just to help speed up those kills. Okay, so once Nex hits 2.1 mil life points, she's going to spawn 4 crystals in each of the 4 corners. Now you can see I'm stood sort of on the line in the middle. This is because I can then DPS both of the crystals without having to move. You basically want to get these crystals down, and you'll see that there's a bar that slowly ticks down. You need to kill the crystals before that bar ticks down to 0, otherwise the minions will spawn with full life points of 300,000 instead of 150,000 if you kill the crystals. And then once you've killed the crystals, you want to jump back on Nex and DPS her down to 1.8 mil life points. This is because this will put her into the next phase, and it will stop the red bombs spawning, because they can be a real pain, especially when you're killing minions, because the minions can actually stun you if you're tanking them. So in each quarter, you should have one person that is designated to tanking the minions, and they just need to be mindful of between that 2.1 and 1.8 mil. If the red bombs do spawn, they can get stunned by the minions, so use freedom or anticipation. If you watch the minions' adrenaline bar, once they get up to about half, they might use Asphyx or Wild Magic. So if you just anticipate as they get to half adrenaline, you should be safe from any stuns. Okay, so once Nex is at 1.8 mil HP, you want to stop DPSing it and get onto the minions. Now, the order that you kill them is important because it's the order that you'll kill the pillars just before the final phase. So the order you want to do it is Umbra, Glacies, Cruor, and then Fumus. So that is Shadow, and then Ice, then Blood, then Smoke. The reason you do this is because each of the pillars has a special in the final phase, and the Shadow special is like similar to the Shadow phase of normal Nex, where it spawns the bombs on the floor, except it's much worse and really annoying. So you want to get that Shadow pillar out of the way, and you basically do Shadow and then anti-clockwise. But yeah, definitely make sure that you're killing Umbra first, otherwise it's going to make killing the pillars in the later phases much more difficult. What is also useful is if the minion tanks bring over the minions all into one spot, it means that everyone can use sort of the death swiftness, or they can use their sunshine and get the minions down nice and quickly. So once the minions are dead, it's relatively simple now. You just got to DPS Nex down to 600k life points, and now she won't do the first or the second special attacks, but she will do the other ones now. So she'll do the Shadow Portal, she'll do the Smoke, and she'll do the Ice. And the thing you've got to be mindful of in this is that people who sort of especially in bigger teams that don't know the mechanics quite as well, is that people just won't run the ices out of the DPS pile, they won't run the smokes out of the DPS pile, as I mentioned previously how to deal with those, which means you just got to be really wary that when she does those type of special attacks, you could be getting hit by somebody else's ice, you can be getting hit by somebody else's smoke. So keep your life points high, especially if you're learning, and just be ready to move. And I would definitely recommend like food on your bar, because it just means you can eat so much quicker than having to click it. So yeah, this phase is relatively simple. Just keep an eye out for those shadow portals, keep an eye out for other people icing you and other people smoking you, and throw in as many onslaughts, throw in as many death swiftnesses as you can until Nex gets down to 600k life points. Okay, so now that Nex is at 600k life points, it's time to kill the pillars. Now this can be quite deadly until the first pillar is down, which is the shadow one in the southeast corner, because the pillar special is that it spawns shadow bombs on the floor, and these bombs will continuously hit you if you stand in them, and they'll spawn about 4 per person. So you want to move around until they've stopped spawning for you, and then you can go into your thresholds that require you to be still. So, you know, go into your rapid fire once all those shadows are spawned. You really got to pay attention, and if you don't see one, it's going to hit you, you know, 3k or 4k very, very quickly. So again, I recommend food on your bar because it's going to be so much easier. The ice pillar is the next pillar that you have to kill, and this has a special attack where the screen will start to ice over like at Wyverns. All you need to do is freedom that, and that'll get rid of it. If you don't freedom it, it will eventually stun you and give you like a 2k continuous bleed. So you just want to freedom that, very easy to get rid of. And after that, the blood and the smoke pillars are very, very easy. I tend to throw in an onslaught when I can on either the ice or the blood pillar, but not the smoke, because I like to use onslaught again on Nex, and it doesn't cool down in time. But yeah, I like to throw an onslaught on ice or blood, up to you which one you choose there. And when you get to the final pillar, make sure you're 100% adrenaline by the time that pillar is down. Okay, so now that all the pillars are dead, this is basically the easy part of the kill, because you're 100% adrenaline. Just head to the middle and do your ultimate. Now you want to be in the middle because this means that if you do get the insta-kill attack, you can clear it straight away, and you don't have to move. And then also, obviously, you want to take the bomb out of the middle once you get the second bar, but the first bar means you just don't have to move out of your ultimate. So you want a Adren pot once you've ultimated and do full attack rotation. In smaller teams, you're going to want to throw in an onslaught after you've done your first death swiftness. In bigger teams, you're probably not going to need it to do that last 600k life points. But yeah, that is it for the next AOD kill. No more mechanics for this final phase. And I hope this guide has been useful for you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you have enjoyed it, and especially if you want to see some more next AOD videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.